Hi, hello everyone. How's it going? It is just about that time, 4 p.m. for our social skills series. I hope everyone's having a great Wednesday. It feels like a busy week. It's been a busy week for us, and we are so sad that this is going to be our last session for our social skills series, but we've really enjoyed bringing you valuable information, and we hope that you've enjoyed these sessions that we've been bringing to you to just create awareness about social media, answer any questions that you may have, and yeah, so let's jump right in. I'm going to make sure that you guys can hear me. Paula, if you could just let me know that my audio is working, and I will go ahead and get started. So today we're going to be talking about influencer strategies, such an important topic. I think that the word influencer itself is still foreign for a lot of business owners. We really can't grasp up until, maybe a couple of years ago, we really couldn't grasp exactly what they did. People fought it for a long time. People, not that they were against it, but they didn't necessarily understand the value. And I think in 2020, people are just fully aware of what the potential is and what you can accomplish and what you can do when you leverage influencers to work in the favor of your brand. So what I want to pull up for you is just a slide deck presentation of a campaign I just did about influencer strategies. And I want to show you on a small business level, on a different campaigns that can be set up with influencers to work in your favor. So we just recently rolled out a influencer campaign for one of our clients in the Heights that has proven extremely successful, to the effect that we're now doing this campaign and running it every single day. And it is that we bring influencers to their establishment every single day. This is something that we ourselves hadn't done before, but it's been so beneficial for them, and it's something that we want to continue to do even post-COVID. We kind of pulled it together during COVID because we thought, how are we going to create awareness for a restaurant that is supposed, not even open, the dining room's not even open. And so we kind of put our heads together and we said, well, let's reach out to some of the influencers that we work with and see if they'd be open to going. And they were. And as soon as we reached out, started bringing people in, they started creating the awareness campaign for, hey guys, this restaurant is open and you need to go there. And essentially, not that they did all the work for us, but they were able to reach, beyond the restaurant's platform, beyond our own platform. Now they started reaching people in their platforms. And we started reaching out to not just food influencers. We started reaching out to everyone in the community that we thought needed to know that this restaurant was open during COVID. And it was a really challenging time for this restaurant, particularly because they had just opened 2 weeks before COVID. So I just want to touch on different layers, different campaigns. There's a lot of opportunities within the influencer community. So I just want to touch on a few key points and do's and don'ts and opportunities that lie within the influencer community. So I'm going to jump right in. And I think first I want to cover the first thing that you should do is establish a relationship. So the reason why social media agencies exist is that sometimes we're that buffer between the client and between the influencer. And when we work with an influencer, they're familiar with the agency and how we work, and that there's going to be an expectation that is going to be set and a term and condition that's going to be set. So they're familiar with that. Think of us as the realtor, and the business is a home seller and the influencer is a buyer. So if the buyer and the seller connect directly, they're going to be right from from the start, from the jump, they're going to be talking about, hey, you do this and I do this, or I want this price for my house and I want this price for my house. So there creates a little bit of friction, whereas when the agency is the intermediate, the mediator, the intermediate point of this relationship, we are going to be acting as a buffer in favor of both parties. And we're going to say, hey, brand, you're going to give this influencer this amount of money or this amount of product in order to get them to do what you want them to do, which is create awareness within their platform. So if you are going about this on your own without an agency, I want you to first try to establish a rapport, a relationship, introduce yourself, ask the influencer if they have a rate card. A lot of them, you can't just go into it and make them an offer. Hey, come eat at my restaurant for free. I'll give you free food. It depends on who you're talking to, but a lot of them, they're not going to be swooned by free food. They're not going to be motivated by free food because they're already receiving, financial contributions and food from a different establishment that maybe they're not interested in what you have to offer. So you don't want to go into it like that. You want to establish a relationship. You want to get familiar with them. Instead of saying, hey, I'll give you free food for this post, you want to say, do you work with restaurants? Do you work with local businesses? Do you work with small businesses? Do you have a rate card? What we found is that these influencers, especially the ones that are getting significant amount of compensation for their postings, is that they're working with big brands and they're getting big posts, big partnerships from big brands. But when they're working with small businesses, and especially during COVID times, as we heard Danielle Hangry Houstonian from our previous social skills series telling us that if she's on board with your restaurant and she loves you and she just wants to support it, she's not even going to charge you. But you want to when you're establishing a relationship with them, you want to ask them, do you work with small businesses? Do you work with restaurants? And do you have a pricing sheet? Because you want to honor the fact that they may already have something worked up, like a rate card or a pricing sheet where they can just easily send that over to you and you can get familiar with their pricing and then you can negotiate from there. You're not going to walk into someone's house that you're buying and say, I'll pay you $100,000 for your house. And they might come back at you and say, it's a $500,000 house. So think about it as social media is the buffer of that relationship. But if you are approaching it from a influencer to a business owner standpoint, you just want to approach with caution and be mindful of the fact that you want to establish a relationship first. So now I'm going to get into the possible types of campaigns that you can establish with said influencers. And I also want to highlight too, what an influencer is and how do you measure the success of their work, and how do you measure if they're a good one or not, and do you measure that by followers? So there's a couple of key points here that I want to touch on. So just because they have an exaggerated amount of followers, 10,000 and up, 50,000 and up, 100,000 and up, doesn't necessarily warrant that they're a credible influencer. You have to look out for the indicators of, do they have maybe an organic audience? Did they buy followers along the way? Did they buy all their followers? And a good way to tell that is a couple of things. Look at their likes on their images and the comments on their images. And there's always a standard ratio. And it's a dead giveaway if you go on someone's page that has 10,000 followers and 20 likes on their photo. You really want to be weary about working with someone like that. But if they've got a couple hundred likes on their photos and 20 plus comments that seem legitimate from people that truly know them, that have a relationship with them, then you can start to kind of build some type of trust. Another way to measure the authenticity of their audience is before you start working with them, make sure that you get a screenshot or some screenshots of the engagement that they get per post. So you guys already know, if you have a business profile on Instagram, you can see the insights and how many people you reach per post on your post. So you want to make sure that you ask them for that, and you say, okay, well, I'd love to look at your insights, just so you can get familiar with how much engagement they are getting per post. Okay, so that's a really key point, something to cover whenever you're starting the relationship with them, is you want to make sure that they have an organic audience, and you want to make sure that they have also that engagement to prove it, their insights to prove it. A lot of them won't. If they're legit and credible, they will not have a problem sending that over to you. Now, if you are working with an influencer, that's, say, somebody that lives in your neighborhood. I just got off the phone with a business owner that owns a small cafe. Shout out to Ashley Silva, owner of Ignite Nutrition, and she owns a local smoothie bar out in Cyprus. Well, she might not be interested in working with the best food blogger out of Galveston. If you can find people in your neighborhood that are within a 5-mile radius of your small business, you want to make sure that you tap into them and start the relationship there with them, because they may not be a foodie influencer that has 10,000 followers, but they are someone that lives in your community that maybe has 3,000 followers that's within your community, that they've established relationships in your neighboring area. And that carries more value than the blogger, the best food blogger in Galveston. Okay, just to put that into perspective. So, followers mean that they have a broader reach, but a more targeted reach, which is a somebody from your local community might have a smaller number of following, but it's just a more targeted type of audience. And that is what we call a micro influencer. Now, people call micro influencers people that have under 1,000 followers. I mean, there's not a really defined specific type of follower count that defines you as micro and macro, but just think about a large scale influencer is going to have 10,000 and up, whereas a micro, I would say, is at a 5,000 and under. Okay, now on the types of campaigns that you can run with them, I want to present you with some different options. And now you can get really creative. We've gotten really creative over the years in working with them, so I just want to give you some options. First one is to host them in a group at an influencer event. We've done this for several small businesses, restaurants, especially our foodie restaurants. If you are active on Instagram and you're scrolling and you see, wow, this restaurant keeps popping up on my radar, I can't stop seeing chicken cone from all of these foodies, chances are that we hosted a one-time influencer event where we said, hey guys, it's post-COVID, come out and eat with us, and let's do it in a safe manner. You're gonna get a chicken cone. It's gonna be awesome, good times. Come, all 20 of you, and all 20 of them are gonna be posting within a 24-hour period from that event, from when it took place, and that's why you're gonna see that kind of rush on Instagram. This is something that we will most likely activate with a lot of our accounts once COVID, as we phase out of this COVID crisis, just because we want to get people's eyes on this in a very big way, and by bringing people together all at once to doing the posting, all at once. Now, that's one way to work with influencers for small businesses, is to host all of them at one time in an influencer event. The second one is to do a hosted giveaway. I've seen this done on a lot of influencer campaigns or influencer pages where they do a hosted giveaway campaign. And so you'll see, hey guys, I'm giving away a $100 gift card to Outback Steakhouse. And this is what you have to do. You've got to follow me and follow them. So that works in the favor of the influencer, but they didn't have to leave their house. They didn't have to, go to the restaurant. They literally will just pull a picture from your social media and do a hosted giveaway. And these work great. There's literally very little effort and a lot of reach because people want to win that. And all you had to give up was the gift card to the winner. And there may be sometimes a compensation given to the influencer, but they also win because they're gonna make sure that they warrant more followers. And anyone that isn't already following them sees that and wants a gift card to $100 gift card to Outback or something like that, they're going to go follow them too. So it's a win-win for all. And sometimes they do ask for a financial contribution to host these on their pages, especially depending on the number of followers that they may have. I've seen them ask for, some will do it for free, and I've had some ask us for $250 per giveaway. At some time, we have to evaluate and we say, okay, this person's going to probably get us 1,000 followers. And, the bargaining chip is I gave them $250 through this hosted giveaway and a $50 gift card to the restaurant, and that costs $300. You really have to kind of think about what's the expected growth rate there divided by the $300 investment that I'm going to make, and is $3 a follower something that I'm willing to invest in. So if you were doing the formula like that, I would encourage you to stick within a $1 per follower, because that number is consistent with how much Instagram ads cost or will result in following, and sometimes not even that cheap. So if I had to say, all right, I'm looking at getting 1,000 followers, I'm going to make a $300 investment, $250 paid to the influencer, $50 to the winner. Okay, that may be worth it, because that, if you think about the math that's being done, that is actually going to come out cheaper than the running a $300 campaign on Instagram only. Now, Facebook ads, totally different story. I'm talking about Instagram only campaigns. Instagram ads are a little bit more pricey, especially when you're looking to convert that into a follower. All right. So just want to give you the full circle on that. Now, another thing that you could do is a daily influencer campaign. I touched on this a little bit earlier in the Zoom series here today. So we did this with Chicken Cone. We started sending influencers out day by day. We started with 5 per day. I think now we've turned it down to 3 because we've had great results with the campaign, and we're like, okay, well, let's just turn it down a little bit. We've sent 3 people a day to eat there on us, and all we say is, hey, do you want to collaborate with us? All right, go there. You're going to get a chicken cone. You're going to post a picture on your story. We really are very loose with the terms and conditions because this is a casual relationship that we're trying to establish with them. Go there, eat, have fun, post about it, have a great time. Look, it's an $8 investment. That's the cost of the chicken cone. 3 people are going there a day. They're getting the chicken cone for free. They're posting about it. It's a great exposure for us, and it costs the restaurant very little money to execute on this. So we do this on their behalf. I think once, like I said, once the business owners are establishing the relationship with the influencer may say, oh, I'm dealing directly with the business. Okay, I'll charge you $50 to go there in person. Believe me, we've seen this. This is what they ask. So as an agency, we've got a relationship with them, because if we're not sending them chicken cone, we're sending them wine, or we're sending them, to a pizza place, or we're sending them to Gyro Republic and Sugarland. So they love working with us because they know that we're going to keep sending them to more and more places. All right. So that's called a daily campaign. And then another thing that I want to talk about is these influencers may already be messaging your business. So you want to make sure that you're checking your filtered requests on Facebook, and you're checking your messages on Facebook, and you're checking your filtered messages on Instagram. And the reason why is because they may already be messaging you guys and asking, hey, I want to collaborate. And a lot of times we start working with accounts and we look in their inbox, and they just said, the clients tell us, oh, I just didn't know how to respond. I didn't know what they wanted. I didn't know how this worked. So make sure that those incoming inquiries are handled right away. And the reason why is because if you're not handling them right away, what's happening is that they'll go down the street. And we learned this with working with our hotel accounts. If we weren't giving them the priority and the right attention up front, they were just going down the street and oh, I'm already working with this hotel. And so you want to make sure that those don't get away from you, because not that they'll badmouth you or won't work with you again, but it could be a missed opportunity. So if you are interested in working with them, a lot of them are reaching out to you first. So you want to make sure that you are establishing that relationship with them. So that is what I have on the influencer strategies and all the different kind of ways that you could establish a relationship with them. I have a question from one of our guests, and if you have any questions, you can drop them in the Q&A box or the chat for everyone to see. And I'll go ahead and read this one question to you guys. So, okay, cool. This is one that is talking about artists in the music industry. So when looking to sign new artists in the music industry, they look for at least 1% engagement rate on large following for artists of over 250,000 followers. So anyone under 250,000 followers, they look for 2 to 5%. And anyone under 100,000 followers, they consider them a real influencer at 5 to 10% engagement. These are really good numbers, and I'll go ahead. This question came into all the panelists. I'll send this to everyone just so everyone can see what was brought to the table here. So the engagement rate, like I mentioned to you early on in the conversation, is, and we've talked about the engagement in different episodes that we've done of the series. Now, the engagement rate is what I was talking about at the beginning of this. So you want to look at the amount of comments and likes, and in the comments you want to read through them and make sure that they're credible comments, that people are really connecting with this person in order for it to give you some validity. Now, there are softwares where you can plug in that individual's Instagram name, and it can tell you what the actual engagement rate is. And so if somebody with 250,000 followers has a 1% engagement rate, that could be something that you say, they're reaching a 1% engagement rate of 250,000. So that means that they're reaching 2,500 people per post. That's not very high, but you set those terms on your own. Now, anyone between 5 to 10% engagement, that's great engagement. And you want to look when working with influencers, you want to check their engagement rate to make sure that it is anywhere between 5 to 10%. That is an ideal rate. Like I've said this before, whenever you're working on social media or we're posting on social media, you're usually reaching max 10% of your audience. All right. So just take that number. If they have 10,000 followers, they're usually reaching 1,000 people per post, and anything more is great. So I've got a really good engagement rate on mine, but just be mindful of that. Whenever they show you their insights, they've got 10,000 followers and their posts only reach 300 people. That's not a substantial amount for you to want to, do a collaboration with them. But if they're reaching 3,000 people at 1,000 followers, that's a great engagement rate. You want to work with somebody like that. All right. So what's the most that you have paid an influencer to help promote? This is an interesting one. We were kind of not as inclined. When I first started the agency, I wasn't as inclined to work with them and pay them because it was hard to see the value when we couldn't measure it. Now that we have the data and all the insights behind it, if somebody presents me an offer to come to one of our accounts and we have to shell out $100, we obviously look at their insights, their engagement rate, and it makes sense to do business with them, then yes. However, we have done some influencer campaigns that have been strategic, where we partner up with a local celebrity. I won't say who, but we have set up these parameters where we say, for a whole month, you're going to get paid disbursements of $1,000 a week. But in that month period, you've got to meet 10 posts. You've got to do 10 story posts. And we set these parameters so that now this client has 1 million followers. We paid them $5,000 in a month's time in weekly disbursements, making sure that they're doing their diligence. But we are working with somebody that has 1 million followers. So we can set up campaigns like that on a large level and with big local personalities. And I always say this, if you are a locally owned business, local voices have local impact. So work with the local celebrity, a local athlete, rapper, Lolo Esther, which is Miss Texas. We've worked with her a couple of times. So really look for that local community, local voice. All right. So yeah, progress payment ideas. It's kind of drives it out. They don't get $5,000 and can walk away from you if they didn't meet their part of the deal. So we do like weekly disbursements as long as they're doing their weekly postings. Okay. So you mentioned ways to drive traffic to your social media platform. How does one track that traffic as far as the demographics per influencer? Okay, I'm going to answer this question live. This is a great question. So ways to drive that traffic. On an e-commerce channel, it's very, very easy. And that is because they set up affiliate codes. So I'm sure that you guys have seen, oh, look, I got my new shirt from, White House Black Market or from this shop, use this code to get the affiliate discount. That when people are paid to be influencers and promoting that code, it is very trackable. We use this with a lot of our e-commerce accounts. Now, we are doing a local campaign where people have to show a screenshot once they pull up to redeem the offer. So that is one tracking method if it's an in-person conversion, but it is hard for us to measure those in-person conversions, but we do work with our local businesses and say, hey, by the way, people are going to be coming in, they're going to be showing this, and we let the restaurants interpret that for us. So that's one way to track it. As far as how does it track per influencer on an e-commerce site, an affiliate code would be great for that. I hope I've answered that question, but I think there's one more question on there. Okay, Christina, I want to tell you this before I finish answering this question. On your Google Analytics, on your website, you should have a tracking, oops, let me close this out. On your Google Analytics, you should be looking at where the traffic is coming from your website. So we've got some clients that show us their Google Analytics where we see time after time, the biggest traffic is coming in from Instagram and Facebook. So you want to make sure that your Google Analytics is set up on your website, because that's another way to tell. Also, to tie it all back together, you've got 10,000 website visits a month and 5,000 of those came from Instagram. You know where your audience is coming from. You want to double down on that channel. Okay. Now, another question from Christina, let me answer this one live, is when algorithms constantly changing, what are the best ways to keep up with them? For example, the best times of the days to post and what days. So I've talked about this before. In your analytics on the back end of your Instagram, it will tell you when your audience is active and what days they're active. So go ahead and look at that. It is, Paola, if you could tell us, maybe type it in the chat, how to look at that. I think it's in the insights, but just confirm that for us. Okay, and the last question is, what are the best ways to achieve a great aesthetic for your social media page? That is such a great question. And I think that I'm going to answer this question live. The best way to achieve the greatest aesthetic is to, I've said this before, you don't have to be first, but you want to be the best. So if there are other people doing social media the way that you aspire to be, you want to use those accounts to kind of mirror a little bit of what they're doing and take the best of what they're doing and apply that to your page. And I know that I land on some accounts that have just the best aesthetic, and I really admire that. For me, I like to have a very organic feed, so I don't want to be limited to, oh, I can't post that because it doesn't have my, filter preset, or it doesn't match my brand colors. I personally don't want to limit myself to my Instagram that way, but we do have some accounts that have certain restrictions and certain content restrictions, and we maybe set up like a grid. If you look at one of our accounts that's a rum company, Golden Age Spirits. They've got a beautiful aesthetic that we, mirror. And I really love that. And we did kind of like a grid style format for them. So, just look at what you like, what you want to be like, and then do it better and take some of that over onto your account. Okay. So from Jay. Yeah, and don't forget the When to Post app. Yeah, we did that. We talked about that. So the When to Post app is an app that's available. I know it's available on iOS, and you can download that, and it'll tell you when your audience is active on social media. That's an easy way. Now, another thing that came in through the chat is from Paola. If you have a business page, go to your insights, and then you'll see the time that your followers are most active, depending on your account. And okay, another question is, if I'm a large influencer, can I pay a company like yours to handle my product placement requests? I don't want to ask for too much or get too little. Yes. So we do act as a liaison for influencers. If an influencer wants to come under our wing and let us manage their campaigns, then certainly. And I think that takes a little bit of the pressure off of them in terms of not managing their own relationships and contracts and agreements. And when we handle that for them, like I said, we're going to make sure that we get the best for the influencer and the best for the brand. So we can definitely get an influencer under a management type of agreement where we can now manage their campaigns and get them paid for using their platform that they worked so hard to create. I think, like I said, when I first came into this business, it was really hard to wrap our heads around influencers and what their power is and what their leverage is. We know they're leveraging. We know they're influencer. We know this works. This is why we're having this topic and why it's such a great conversation to be had. But once we started working on the accounts and growing the accounts past 10,000, past 100,000, we were like, oh my God, this is so much work. So yes, this is what you're paying for. You're not paying for, oh, you just have a little page. You're paying for all the work they did to get there. So I think that that's something to consider. And a lot of these influencers really sell themselves short when they just ask for, sometimes we get a bargain deal. We can work with somebody that's got 100,000 local followers and they'll say, yeah, just give me $200, just give me $100. That's a bargain for us. They don't know their own worth. So yeah, if you know any influencers that want to be managed by an agency like us, definitely will work on for their most favorable results in terms of campaigns and partnerships. So yeah, guys, this has been such a great session. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you've gotten a lot of it. If you want to take a screenshot before I post this up on let's see, can you guys see my window of the slide that I just did? Let me make sure that you can see that. Oops, no, not this. I'm trying to find my screen here of my influencer partnerships. Paula, can you see that? Let me know if you can. I just want everybody to take a picture of it and get the most out of it so that you know what you're getting into. If not, I'll upload this to the YouTube right after this series. And yeah, okay, so she says no, that she can't see that. I'm trying to pull it up just to do the slide deck that I had earlier. I'm not sure why it's not working, but I'll upload it to the YouTube channel right after this session. So you guys have been amazing. Thank you for always bringing the best questions. And yeah, why is Paola so awesome? Yeah, honestly, I don't know why she's so awesome. That's a question that just came in, but I'm so glad that she's with us. And thank you guys for joining us today. It has been a pleasure doing this series. One last thing I want to close out with is this Monday, we are doing, for Memorial Day, a scavenger hunt. So we've partnered up with Fuel Up gas stations to donate a $100 gift card. We're going to hide that along with a $50 chicken cone gift card and a $50 prize bundle that we're going to be stashing away at 5 secret locations in Houston. We're going to post the clues to our Facebook event at 11 a.m. Monday morning. And you need to go to memorialdayhtx.com. That is memorialdayhtx.com. I'm going to post it here on our chat, and oops, I'm going to post it to everybody, not just Paula. Post it there. Go there. RSVP to the Facebook event. On Monday morning, we're going to post the clues. It is 5 clues. You go to, like, solve the answer to 1 clue. Go get that prize. It's yours, $200 prize bundle, and it's going to be so much fun. So it's just our way of giving back and, you know, wanting to have a little bit of fun as we can just get back out on Memorial Day. So just a little campaign, a little initiative that we're doing. If you've enjoyed this series, please give us, you know, a review on our Google, on our Facebook, on our Yelp. We'd love to have that. And it's been such a fun campaign doing the series. Don't worry, we have a lot of value-added content stuff for you guys planned for the rest of the year. But I'm glad that we used the COVID crisis as a way to reconnect with everybody and reintroduce ourselves. And it's been great reconnecting with a lot of you. I look forward to seeing you all in person very, very soon. And I thank you all for joining us today and throughout this social skills series. Thank you, Chef Dom Lee, for joining us and for sending us a message on the chat box. All right. Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure. I will see you guys soon. Bye.